Now that is what we've been waiting for. Ole Miss wins both games of a doubleheader on Friday. They go for the sweep on Sunday with an absolutely dominating offensive performance. Let's talk all about it. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media and a former Ole Miss football staff member. We're proud to be a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in America. That's because of fans like you watching content like this. Thank you very much for that. On today's show, we're going to talk about two different games, an offensive explosion and the return of small ball to the Ole Miss Rebels. We'll talk about all of that and a dominating pitching performance. Yes, today's going to be a fun show, everybody. All of that and more is coming up on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all of the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make this show what it is, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into a bigger potential win with college basketball's Parlay Profit Boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. So it was not fun watching this team in the midweek. It was a slog. It was very extreme three-outcome hitting to where it was either a home run, a walk, or a strikeout. And it was almost like the players were taking live batting practice during the game. So the offense was very static. The pitching staff has been good. It's been lights out the whole season, but the offense just kind of slogged and everything didn't quite look right. And all of a sudden, Dom Decker's doing his Willie Mays Hayes performance, and he's hitting home runs. He's the whole offense, essentially. And we were like, we need to start manufacturing runs. We need to start playing a little baseball out there. And what you saw in these two games against the Evansville Purple Aces was Ole Miss playing small ball. They did hit some home runs. Now, they did run some balls out of the park, but they also manufactured runs. They played legitimate baseball, looked really good. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do a 3-segment baseball reaction, which we don't normally do because it was a doubleheader today, okay? First segment, we're going to talk about game one. Second segment, game two. Third segment is going to be you if you're interested. If you comment, please put where you're commenting from, mention which game you want to talk about or the game overall, and we will have a conversation in segment three. Segment three is going to be all about you. We're going to treat it like a football broadcast. So game one, Ole Miss won 7-2 over the Evansville Purple Aces. It was an interesting game in the fact that Ole Miss was down twice early on. For whatever reason, Hunter Elliott has started slow. 2 runs were given up in the second inning off of solo home runs that got ran out of the park. He was able to recover, and he was absolutely dominant like he normally is. Ole Miss gave up a total of 5 hits for that game. That tells you how good the pitching is. The story in this game was the hitting. Every starter got a hit. There were 15 hits overall, and Ole Miss played a little bit of small ball. The whole purpose and the way that it came across to me, I could be totally missing the point of what Mike Bianco was trying to do, but it came to me, we're going to make the other team have to move. We're going to make the other team have to play. It might be bunting at unusual spots, stealing bases, sack flies, sacrifice bunts, old school baseball from back in the day. All of that stuff came to the forefront. I even saw Ole Miss attempt a bunt with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Now, Evansville made that play, but it was a wonderful call. It can't be a bad call just because it didn't work. It was a wonderful call because I've seen pitchers slip down on that exact play with the bunt going to the same place 70% of the time at Swayze Field. The guy made a play, got the out, whatever, but it was unexpected. It was something that was going to rattle the defense, and I enjoy that. I enjoy them playing that way. Now, Ole Miss had some home runs Judd Utermark ran one out again for his 9th of the year. When you look at Tate Sirmans, he ran one out. I think that might be his first of the year. He might have another one. I don't know his exact number of what's going on. But when you look at this, you have Dom Decker went 2 for 3 with a walk. You have Judd Utermark 1 for 3 with a home run and a walk. Will Furnish went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Colin Reuter 2 for 4. Tristan Becerra 2 for 4. Tate Sirmans was 1 for 4 with that home run. Braden Randall was 1 for 4 with a single. Austin Foley was 1 for 3 and a walk, which is good because Austin Foley has been really struggling at the plate this season. Hayden Federico was 2 for 3. And you want to look at pitching numbers? Hunter Elliott pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs. There were 2 solo home runs. He did have 4 walks in the game, which feels like it's just going to be a problem for him. The story in this game was Hudson Calhoun. He went 4 innings. He closed out the game. Ole Miss only used 2 pitchers in this game. He had 9 strikeouts, completely shut down the other team. Only 1 hit given up. He only faced 12 batters. So good stuff there. This first game was Hunter Elliott got the win. Hudson Calhoun got the save. The main thing to remember from this game is the manufacturing of runs. This is how an offense gets its groove back. This is how they look different going up to the plate a little bit later on. This game was a massive move for the Ole Miss offense because it was more than just hitting home runs. It was more than just being static. They were putting the defense on the back foot. They didn't know what was coming. It could be a bunt. It could be swinging away for the fences like they have for the last couple of weeks. They could be stealing bases, causing second baseman and shortstop to move around where the ball could just slip through the infield. It could be just a dink hit to the outfield. It was a good day for the Ole Miss offense, and they only struck out 5 times over the course of the game. That was a big confidence-building win for Ole Miss. So how did the Rebels go into game 2 with this confidence-building win? How were they able to take the stuff that was from this game and apply it to the next game? Well, we will talk about that next right here on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings, and every single night, from early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into a bigger potential win with college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build college hoops parlays any way you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your need, you can set that up on FanDuel. You can mix spreads, totals, player props, and match how you want to see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up your potential payout. Look at the odds around your team if they are in season. You know, if they're not, it's probably not good. Like Ole Miss basketball right now, it's win or go home at the moment. You have to win the SEC tournament if you want to keep playing basketball. So you can go safe, you can go bold, you can ride with your team that you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. And it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is, well, a lot. Try to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a local store near you and book your appointment. Hey, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing, but it keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, well, now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, that's just a couple of weeks, you can get into the Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, use the code MARCH and you get your first month free. Head to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com or tap the link down in the show notes below. All right, so game 2, Ole Miss dominated. It was 14-2. They gave up 2 runs in the top of the 7th in the run rule. There was a young pitcher that was throwing in, and the count got away from him. They hit a couple balls hard, and they ended up getting 2 runs home. But it was an absolute domination of a baseball game in game 2. It was the Daniel Pacella show. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and he was doing exactly what you hoped he would do in that game. And I'm glad Pacella, man, he has been pressing this season. He was brought in to be the dude, and you got to see the amount of power that he had, the amount of power to where he can, one swing of the bat, completely change the game. He inside out of the ball and hit it out of the ballpark tonight. That was the swing that kind of felt like him getting right. That was the swing that kind of felt like, oh yeah, he's going to be able to be doing this just fine. That might be the swing that got him on track. And the thing I like is the next time he came to bat, he hit the bomb to right field. After that, Mike Bianco just got him out of the game. He gets to go home with a 2 home run game, feeling unbelievably good about himself, having 2 RBIs on the night. Now, Judd Utermark hit another home run this game, his 10th of the year, moving him up to like 6th or 7th all time at Ole Miss. He's 9 away from the career record at the moment. Dom Decker hit another home run. That was interesting. He's got 5 this season after having no career home runs going into this season. He is pretty much the perfect leadoff guy for Ole Miss, especially if he's going to drive the ball out of the park from time to time, because he's going to hit singles and he's going to walk a ton. He is doing a phenomenal job at the leadoff position for Mike Bianco and the guys, and he sets the table for Utermark. He's the reason that most of the time when Utermark's hitting home runs, it's a 2-run shot. It's not a solo shot. With Bracetta, and if Pacella gets going, these bats have a chance to be extremely dangerous. Like I said, though, the trap that Ole Miss has to deal with and worry about is falling into the 3 outcome hitting to where it's home run, walk, or strikeout. You got to make contact. You got to do what's necessary to get the defense moving. We talk all the time how this isn't Major League Baseball. This is college baseball, which means they will make more mistakes. So make them move side to side, make them throw the ball, make them make seemingly routine plays from time to time just to see if they can do it. That's one of the reasons I like that bunt with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the first game. Make the defense prove they can do what they need to do to win a game. In this game tonight, Dom Decker was 1 for 2 with 3 walks. I think it was 3 walks, yes. And he had a home run for his 1 hit. He had 3 total runs for the game. His average is up to like 298 right now. Utermark was 2 for 3 with the home run of the game. He had 3 RBIs. Will Furnace, 2 for 4. He's just consistently hitting the ball, and he's going the other way against the shift. I'm liking a lot what I see from Will Furnace. We got his autograph right back there, honestly. Colin Reuter, 1 for 4. Tristan Becerra, 1 for 3. Braden Randall went 2 for 3. He should have had a double in this game. He hit a ball probably 6 inches from going over the fence, and he thought it was a home run. So he got into his home run trot, ended up being a single, because if he'd have been running it all, he'd have been in second base standing up. So that's something to remember there. Owen Pano, 2 for 3 for the game. He actually played a really good game. Daniel Pacella, 2 for 3, 6 RBIs with 2 home runs on the night. Hayden Federico, 1 for 3, a total of 14 hits for Ole Miss. Pitching-wise, Cade Townsend might be the best pitching pitcher on the staff. And he's going to throw on Saturday. And he throws strikes. This was a bad game for him strike throwing. And even in this game, he threw 67 total pitches. 46 of them went for strikes. Absolutely unbelievable game. I think his ERA is below 0.5 at the moment. He has some unbelievably electric stuff. He did have 2 walks, but 7 strikeouts in the game and 5 innings pitched. His pitch count is a little bit depressed because he's a little bit behind the other pitchers that are going for Ole Miss. So they're kind of stair-stepping him up. I'm assuming against Texas, he was at 75. He'll be at about 90 or so for the Texas Longhorn series over the next weekend. We'll see exactly how that goes. Landon Waters pitched a perfect inning, and then there was Noah Allen, who gave up 2 hits and gave up the 2 runs in the game, but he's the young guy just getting some experience. He'll see what's going on. I'm not worried about that at all. Ole Miss won the game 14-2. This was the tonic that Ole Miss needed. Now, the downside of it is there's no baseball game tomorrow. There's no chance for that to happen tomorrow. So you're going to wait until Sunday to see if this confidence and everything carries over, because these Sunday games are usually supposed to be slugfest. And if Ole Miss is going to play like they did today on Sunday, they're going to win a lot of Sunday games because Will Leonard is such a good pitcher. Their starting 3 on the weekend is very, very good, to the point where they don't need many runs to win the game. They just need consistently the fact that they're able to get them. They don't need to be in a situation where they're playing three outcome hitting, and all of a sudden you're just waiting for the home run because there's nobody on base. So we'll see how it looks Sunday. Ole Miss going for the sweep against the Evansville Purple Aces. That will move them to 15-2 on the season. Seriously, they played really good baseball today. Unbelievably good baseball. After this midweek and last weekend, they needed a weekend like this. This is the high ceiling portion of that baseball team. We saw the low floor. That was the high ceiling. And whenever they're all clicking and they're running around with the athletes they have and hitting the ball out of the park and fielding the ball cleanly and not giving up walks and finding a way to get on base, they are a really, really good baseball team. When they take a couple of those out of the equation, it gets a little bit iffy. They have a very high ceiling, but very thin margin for error. So this Ole Miss baseball team has a chance to be really good this season if they play like they did today. Today was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed watching both baseball games. Watching the game against North Alabama and the game against Memphis, even though against Memphis they played pretty well. They played pretty clean. The 3 outcome stuff is like going to the dentist office. It's like getting a root canal. But tonight looked the way it's supposed to look. And this Ole Miss team absolutely showed up. And honestly, they needed to do that. All right, coming up in our final segment, we are going to go to your comments. Remember, if you comment in the chat, be sure to put where you're commenting from. If you're not, we'll just continue to talk about the game a little bit. We'll talk about this commitment that Ole Miss got today. If you want to ask a question about that, if you want to ask a question about the joke that was the Washington, D.C. college sports thing today, we can talk about that a little bit as well. But if it's your chat in the chat room, put where you're chatting from, and we will call out that when we get back. So stick around. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need to make the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, and yes, location. Just so you're just not hoping that you find the right candidate stumbling across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners to the show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your show the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. So Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, and Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft. And I get made fun of it by Chris Marler of Locked On Gamecocks because I'm going to go grape, and I'm not ashamed of it. Let me tell you why. It's not anything great. I don't even know if it's a taste thing. It's a consistency thing. Whenever I go to a drugstore, whenever I go to a convenience store, I can count on grape being on the shelf. That and berry is absolutely going to be there. And to me, that convenience, that consistency is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to take them as the number one pick. Now, the sleeper right now might be pomegranate. I like pomegranate. Sometimes it can be difficult to find. I like pomegranate. It has a nice tangy kick. But if you have a sweet tooth, you can go with Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. But hey, the OG, by the way, berry, that's an option as well. So 5-Hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. 5-Hour Energy has a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned. I'd kind of like to see them do a cherry limeade if they can figure out how to do that. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or at Amazon. All right, so it's late at night. Everybody's getting ready to go, and I'm going to get out of here pretty quick, but we're going to take comments for anybody that has it. If you don't have it, that's fine. It's no big deal. We'll talk about some other stuff. I'll give some thoughts on the SEC and the Big Ten stuff and everything that happened in Washington as well, because I'm not doing a show tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm off, so I won't have the way to, I guess, connect on that. So, whenever you look at, let's see, we have this one thing says like finally Pano. He played pretty well tonight. He played pretty well tonight. Was a very big confidence game for him. Absolutely. All right, so in Washington, D.C. today, in case you didn't notice, and I get that this is a baseball reaction show, but like I said, I'll be off. In Washington, D.C., they had a Save College Sports meeting. It was 80 minutes and 50 people in a room, and it was a joke, honestly. But like I talked to everybody over the course of the week, I said that there's two things that you need to pay attention to. Don't think of anything of them fixing college sports because that wasn't going to happen. There's two things that they're trying to really get done. First of all, the NCAA desperately wants antitrust. So things like the Trinidad Chambliss case cannot happen. They can rule with an iron grip. They can be the mean NCAA that they were for years, and they can go back to punishing mid-level teams and propping up blue bloods just like we know they do. That is something you need to pay attention to. That happened. And you saw people talking about, hey, let's get the SCORE Act through. It was basically a pep rally for the SCORE Act in this 80-minute period. The second thing that you started to see was people talking about pooling media rights. And there's a bill that's going to be introduced in Congress and the House next week that involves taking the SBA, the Sports Broadcasting Act, from 1961 and amending it to allow for pooling of conferences of their rights. Now, the benefit is they're not going to make it mandatory. They're just going to make it available, which is good. But it's not going to stop the American, for instance, who was the president, the commissioner of the American, brought up the fact of pooling media rights, and Cody Campbell was bringing up that as well. Make no mistake, that's a major push, because the reality of this is they want to steal about $20 million a year from every SEC and Big Ten team to prop up these smaller conferences. Make no mistakes. That when you hear media pooling, that's what they want. Because if the SEC and the Big Ten left and the Big 12 and the ACC was the big dog, I guarantee the tune would be different. So that happening today. Those two things happen. They're going to release acts on both the SCORE Act, which the House thinks they have the votes to do it. I don't think there's enough there in the Senate, by the way. And the Sports Business Act, they're going to put a bill out next week where they can amend that to allow pooling of rights. It's a problem. It is. But after it, the increasingly interesting thing that I saw was the reaction from Greg Sankey, who just replied, "Interesting day, period. Lots of work to do." It wasn't cheerleading. It felt like the end a little bit. The conversation, in my opinion, is going to start to be had about leaving the NCAA. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk about this. We're going to talk about Trinidad. We're going to talk about baseball. We're going to talk about basketball. And we're going to talk about the Locked On Everydayers Discord that you can get into with for free. If you sign up now with promo code MARCH, MARCH, you can get a free month to come in there. And we're going to make this Locked On Everydayer Discord kind of go with the Locked On Discord that I run, my private Discord, and we're going to marry those bad boys together. So if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad free, plus members only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you on over to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel and audio. Make sure you find a second listen in Locked On SEC or Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody. I'm taking off on Saturday. I will not be around, but I'll be back for the reaction show on Sunday. And you'll also hear from the mayor of Corinth as well on Sunday morning. So take care. We will talk to you later. And as always, hotty toddy.